my three biggest fears of my weight were losing the ability to wipe my own ass, my fear of plastic lawn chairs, and getting stuck in a water slide. Those were my top three motivators for getting weight loss surgery. And after watching my 600-pound life so much, they all had these wonderful partners or spouses that wiped their ass for them. And I thought, all right, this is getting bad. So I asked my girlfriend, will you wipe your ass for me? And she said, wipe my ass. She said, absolutely not. Then I thought it's going to be salad tongs for me, hanging in the bathroom. So now something has to happen. So I do a whole bit on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the water slide fear was in there.
I feel like water slides are very, like, a bit scary. I grew up in Florida and we had a big water park near us. And there's like some slides that I'm like, that looks like it's a little too skinny for like any adult. Like, is this only for ages like 7 and under? Why is it so small?
The tube.
You were like, and they're like, do not sit up under any circumstances. And I'm like, what will happen if I sit up?
No, the best part, let me tell you something about the water slide. My kids, we used to go to the park, the water park over here. And I don't think, I mean, I'm sure everybody must know this. The heavier you are, the faster you go.
That's why I like to go down the size of my dad and not my tiny little sister.
So we would go on those double blow up tubes, but they were, double deckers. And the kids would get on with me. Oh my God, we would go shooting out so quick. Like, I'm telling you, I was scared my kids would miss the pool. We would be so airborne. And my fear of flying over, like the water slide needs to be in a tube. I don't want edges.
The edges are, there was one in like my hometown that was like this. You go like this. First they like drop you on a big drop and then you're just like on a funnel. I'm like, I'm gonna fly out of this funnel.
Thank you.
And they're like, no, it's safe. And it like definitely isn't. Also, like, there's for sure so much mildew here. We're all gonna like leave with staph.
But I mean, really, especially with me on the front of that tube, the speed that we are going with my fat ass is already frightening. Okay. It's already scary.
I think people need to have more of a healthy fear of water parks than they do.
I definitely have an irrational fear of slides. Like,
no, it's rational.
You're talking about
so
like
rational.
The ones that plummet, like, what is it? Like 90 degrees, they go down. Straight like, down and then turn at the
they
end.
got ones where they drop the bottom out from under you. That's just falling. That is not a slide. That is falling.
Yeah, I have no interest in that. And I used to think the tube ones were safe, but now I've learned that, you can get stuck.
Yeah.
It's okay. They have trap doors that they can access to get you out, like this woman.
I like the ones where it's 4 people, because usually you're just there with like one friend and then they place you in with like 2 random strangers and you have to be friends with them for the next 30 seconds. So those are good. Those are solid when you're in middle school.
So we have another story and it kind of gets into method acting, and Dara, maybe you can weigh in on something. So Zoe Kravitz was on Jimmy Fallon the other night, and she was talking about her Catwoman role and how she got into it. And she said that she would study cats, like the ones that she was going to be working with. She like surrounded herself with them and tried to like learn and get along with them. But then also she started drinking milk from a bowl, like a cat, so that she could really like embrace the role. And she said, oh yeah, it's just, method acting. So anything you've done for a role that anything crazy you've done to get into a role that you were playing?
I wouldn't do that. I mean, I don't see a need for it. I don't think that's right.
Would you do it for a $15,000 shopping spree at Saks?
No, I would do it for anything. I would do it for like $6. Like I would do it for like if somebody was like, I dare you to do this, but I wouldn't do it in order to get better at a role. I think I can handle that all on my own. To be clear, I'm not afraid of embarrassing myself. I'll do it right now. I actually don't have any milk or saucers, so we can't. But I'm not fancy enough to have a saucer in my home. And I'm not un-Jewish enough to have milk in my home.
All right. That, you know what?
No, I've never done something crazy like that for a role. I've also never had a role on TV. So
we had a whole discussion last night about Jewish people and their stomach problems. And you were the first person that ever like said to me, well, you know, like Jewish people have a lot of stomach problems. And I was like,
all messed up.
I didn't know that. And I mean, I come from a huge Italian family, and I was exposed to some German, my mother's German, and a little Irish because I grew up in an Irish neighborhood.
Well, all of those are hardy peoples.
I mean, right. But I was never really exposed to a lot of Jewish culture. And I didn't realize that the numbers are insane for lactose intolerance in the Jewish
we're all
community.
lactose intolerant, and we like everyone has IBS.
It's like over 80%.
Yeah, we don't have that. We can't have milk. We can't. Well, here's the thing. We cook with my family essentially doesn't cook with any dairy. Like it's all margarine because kosher stuff, even though like my family isn't kosher, but like my dad's mom is kosher. So you can't mix milk and meat.
Right.
So if like we're going to have chicken, which we always are, except not make some vegetarian, guys. Shout out to vegetarianism. We're sponsored by them. Haven't eaten a chicken in years. That's true. But like, yeah, my dad is very lactose intolerant. My mom is also like pretty lactose intolerant. I'm certainly not lactose intolerant. And my sister has so many stomach issues. It's insane.
I mean, it's crazy, you know. Lauren, did you know this about the Jewish people that they have?
I know that about the Jews. Also, there's a lot of celiac.
You're talking about my people, Cindy.
I
did find out in my DNA test that I am 1% Jewish.
Oh, so you claim, okay. 1%.
No, I can't claim it.
I just shot myself in the throat right now for all you listening at home.
I don't know if it's maternal, paternal. I would really, really like to like dig in enough to find out though.
Yeah, I'm 99% Ashkenazi Jewish and 1% broadly Eastern European.
Really?
So probably also Jewish.
Yes. I have my Eastern European is very high because my mother. Yeah. And then it was like 40 something. And then the rest was Italian, Sicily. But believe it or not, I have a lot of Middle Eastern in me, which I believe comes from the Sicily part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you get the Mediterranean.
Was it Syrian or something? I believe was a big mix in there. Yeah.
I'm very distracted by my own reflection.
But so Lauren, speaking of DNA, what was your biggest?
What
Irish, which
your most percentage?
Yeah, it's like 44% Irish, and that it comes from like we know that my grandmother's family came Irish Catholic, came from Ireland, and then came in through New Orleans, and that's how we ended up in Louisiana.
Ooh. My mom went to Tulane, so
okay, yeah, a lot.
So did my grandma, and so did
Tulane.
my grandpa. Well, technically, she went to Newcomb Women's College, as did my grandma.
Oh, all right.
Guess who didn't get in? Me.
I've never even heard of that school. I mean, I'm a lesbian. I should know
Really?
about all these women's colleges.
No, it's not. Well, it wasn't a women's college. Like, okay, it's kind of complicated. It was a women's college when my grandma went there because men's and women's colleges were just separate. And then when my mom went there, she applied through the Sophie Newcomb school, but it was just like the Tulane school. And she was like in a Newcomb dorm for first year or something like that. And Tulane's a hot spot for Jews, a lot of Jews there. I didn't get in. I got rejected. Actually got waitlisted because whatever, I don't want to talk about it. No, it's just like kind of an annoying reason. It's because I was overqualified. But well, listen.
Are you a part of Mensa? Say it.
Mensa.
I got an email today that they're waiving the test fee for March.
Oh, are you?
I don't know why. No, they just
up?
emailed. No, they've emailed me. Like, I think they email me like once a year. I don't know why, but I was like, oh, maybe I should do it.
I insisted on getting an IQ test when I was 17. Because I was like, I want to join Mensa. So I did, and then I did.
I got an IQ test when I was like 7.
I know they didn't do that for us because I didn't go to public school. So we didn't have like gifted programs and things like that. So they just like gave us their own like reading tests and math tests. So I was like ahead as a kid, but I never had like sort of that, like, this is you're smart or not. Which was kind of good. When I was in middle school, they had like different groups for us. I went to a really small school, Jewish day school, Boca Raton. And the different groups, like they were just named after sort of arbitrary things. Like when we were in 5th grade, which was the first year of middle school for me, which I know was not the case anywhere else. They were like the math groups, you were grouped based on your math acumen and your Hebrew language skills. So for the math people, it was Egyptians, Greeks, Romans, and Sumerians in that order. And then for the Hebrew ones, it was always like cities in Israel or like Israeli prime ministers or like some other like Jewy thing.
I was a summer camp counselor for a camp in Texas that had like a high percentage of Jewish attendees. And so I like my girls, I like had the cabin. My favorite was like the 11, 12-year-olds, and they were like preparing for their bat mitzvahs. And so I learned so much. And I feel like I always had like a connection to some of that. And so then when I found out the 1%, which I know is like super low.
I mean, if you don't want it to, like, if you
but
want
it's interesting that I'm like, oh, I wonder what, like where that.
Listen, but that
goes back. We need more.
But that's very exciting because I have an obsession with the Middle East. Like my girlfriend, like everybody laughs because I just love the music and I think they're so attractive. And those, to me, the men are so handsome. I just love those, the like dark. I don't know. I love it. And then
we know your type, Cindy.
Right. Dangerous too, but more like the Mexican cartel, like dragging me through tunnels with, criminals. That's my type. But I really was so excited to find out that I have some Middle Eastern in me. It was like, yay. And let's talk about Tiffany Haddish, who found out all those years of working bar mitzvahs. Like that's how she started.
She was a dancer, right?
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
I've heard about that.
I had bar mitzvah dancers at my bar mitzvah.
Yep. And when she found out that she had that percentage of Jewish when she did her DNA, that's where she came up with Black Mitzvah, her stand-up special.
Well, she's also like, she's always been very connected to Judaism.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
really how she started.
Story.
Yeah. I read her biography. She's had a insane, sad life. And she's overcome so much. It's crazy. I love her so much.
Whereas I've overcome almost nothing.
You still have time
to have problems.
Yes.
I'm all set. Thank you. No,
it's coming.
Listen. I'm very depressed and very anxious. It's fine. We're good.
Well, guess what? Those get worse as you get older too. So good luck.
Thank you. Actually, it may get better. Ever think of that? It's better now than it was when I was 14.
You came out. My oldest daughter is very anxious too, and I'm telling you, she was born like that. Like
when I was in 5th grade, I just cried all through the day.
Yeah, it's insane. Like she was so
anxious. I'm not like, I'm anxious. I'm like, oh, I'm anxious.
Yeah. My daughter used to get hives when she was 2. She started like her anxiety as a little girl. She came out of me with that anxiety. Like it's insane. You guys are just born with it. And
Yeah.
I could have been too.
Yeah.
Who knows? I
I'm
don't
what
know.
they call high strung.
That's my daughter.
I've never been
High strung.
relaxed